Great, and you are recording.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. It is Friday, October 31st for an emergency meeting to respond to a violation of open meeting law complaint. I think everyone has received the complaint. I'm going to. Sorry, I'm getting some feedback. Sorry about that. Is there any discussion? Does anybody have any discussion that you want to say about this? I have a response, but I just want to make sure that should I go through that maybe, or after conferring with legal counsel? Maybe I'll take us through that. After conferring with legal counsel.
Does it
Please.
make sense just to ask everybody if they've read that memo?
Yes, that's a good idea.
How many people have read that memo?
Yes.
And Wendy?
Yeah, Wendy read it.
Yes, I did.
I mean, I guess I would just ask Edie, I would just ask anyone has a concern with the memo, because if not, I would just respectfully suggest that the chairs send a revised version that takes the legal explanation and just send it to the individual quickly. I don't want to make a practice of spending a long time on these, because if we do, we could get deluge with them. So
I think that's fair, but I also think it's worth just having a short conversation about what the complaint was and what the basic response is.
Okay.
I think that is not harmful to do. The complaint had a couple of categories of violation. One is about accessibility of our meetings, and the other is about the public comment process. And so the complaint was made that the October 16th hearing at Leland and Gray was changed and some members of the public were unable to join, and that the timing of the meeting on Friday, October 10th was limiting of public participation. And just to respond to those, we had 4 sessions. We provided them in a way that was both in person and remote, which was above and beyond, because we are an advisory body, and actually open meeting law doesn't require that we hold hybrid meetings at all. And then we had the link changed because of an administrative support issue that was not at the task force's control. And we did update our website immediately with the new information. And then October 10th meeting, we had the meeting at the request of that town at the time that town thought would be a good time to get there. And there were a number of people, both in person and remote. So all of that seems to be reasonable. And then no decisions are being made at these hearings. So missing one of the 4 doesn't prevent someone from meaningfully engaging in the process. Does anybody have anything that they want to say about that? We have, go ahead, Dave.
I really wonder about, whatever harm might be caused by having one more public hearing, kind of in the spirit of inclusivity of those who might feel that they were unable to participate. So personally, I don't have a problem with having another public hearing at a time that's in place that's accessible.
So I think that there's data that we actually have had a significant number of people at these public hearings, more than we actually expected to. And we've done surveys. We've had so many different ways for folks to comment in. I'm not convinced personally that that's necessary. In addition, we were required to have 2. We've already had 2. We've already doubled in the number we were required to have.
And I think
Yeah,
if it's helpful, Edie, I just dropped, and I don't know, Dave, if you're going to be able to see it on the phone, but I can read it. I just got the numbers from Sue. This is Kim. At Oxbow, we had 33 in person and 40 virtually. At Leland and Gray, we had 44 in person, 108 virtually, and that's the one in question about, no, was that the one in question about the link? I think it was. So we had
Yes.
more people virtually. Rutland, we had 175 in person and 140 virtually. And in Winooski, we had 91 in person and 104 virtual. So I would agree with Edie in that we have gone far above and beyond that which was articulated in law about our requirements. And we have 2 additional meetings with time for public comment at the end. I think I would say we need not, in the midst of trying to work on the actual maps, I would feel pretty strongly we need not add another coordinated time for another location for another public hearing. There's also, I think, 4 listening sessions that the commission is holding right now, and we could put those in the response if we wanted to, or advertise those on our website.
Go ahead,
And,
Jen.
Kim, were those people who signed up or signed up to speak in terms of numbers? Because when I sat in the audience and counted, I counted quite a few more than what you just represented.
You know, so what Sue said, there were sign-in sheets for each of those meetings. So like as you came in, as would be the case in any public meeting, and we did it in state board meetings, like you sign when you come into the room. So the sign-ins for those in person were that, and the virtual numbers I think were captured probably from, I mean, 2 of them I was on virtually, one both in person and virtual, but nonetheless, I think between Chrissy and Sue, they were able to see the people on for the virtual pieces. So my guess would be, Jen, probably not everybody stopped to sign as they were going in, as much as people were trying to be corralled in that direction. Sign as you walk in the door, and then you're in the room. But thank you for noticing. I felt that was true at Oxbow as well, but I was at the door trying to get people to sign in, and there were some people sort of walking around the table.
Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, if the minutes or the record could reflect that my observation as per counting heads is that it's probably 10 to 20% more than what the formal record of the sign-in sheet reflects. And that's just my head count.
Thanks for noticing, Jen.
So based on the accessibility piece, and that we had more people remote than in person at every one of our sessions, I'm not seeing that there is an open meeting law violation. I'm curious if other folks are in agreement with that. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I think whether, I mean, Dave, I'm totally open to the idea of rescheduling another meeting, but I think it's important to be clear that whether or not we have an open meeting law violation is a separate question of whether we hold another meeting. I just think it's really important to keep those 2 issues separately. I think to me, when I look at the legal opinion that you provided, we actually don't have an open meeting law violation. So that's we just don't have one. Whether we need to, because we inconvenience people and we feel an obligation to try to be as inclusive as possible, to me, that's a separate question, and I'm open to that discussion, but I don't think we should conflate the 2.
Go ahead, Scott. Oh, you're muted, I think. And Rebecca, thank you for separating those back out.
Okay, how am I okay now? All right, good. I'm better with Zoom than Teams. Yeah, I read Heather's email I'm not, obviously I'm not a lawyer. I think we would be well served to have one more public comment after November 10th to, I think just to do the right thing, if nothing else. I think there were some people that couldn't get in. I think there was some confusions. Not that that was necessarily anybody's fault. I think that's what we should probably do.
I
Chris?
support that.
I just would like to welcome Heather to the room. She's joined you in the conversation, just to acknowledge that she is here in the meeting.
Thanks, Chrissy. Wendy, you were agreeing with,
Well, let me just say what I'm thinking. I do agree that we need to be very clear, and the purpose of this meeting is to discuss and respond to the public meetings allegation. And the attorney has said that we are not at fault. So I think we need to say that clearly, and that's the action that we take at this meeting. I like meetings. I think public input is really important. And especially in this process, there's been a lot of anxiety. So anything we can do to reduce anxiety, I think is helpful. But I think our conversation on what public meeting to have, where to have it, at what point to have it, because folks have been wanting to look at maps. They haven't had that opportunity. And discussing how a public hearing would be seen in the entire process, because this, as we know, this is just one part of the process. I think that conversation should be at a different meeting, because we weren't thinking about that ahead of the meeting, and it would actually be taking an action, not on the agenda also. So I'm perfectly willing to talk about it, but I think we should take action at a separate meeting.
great, thank you. And just to just the chairs can modify agendas and send agendas out in advance. So let's focus this meeting on the open meeting law complaint and take a look at the next agenda. It could end up being a longer meeting based on that. Go ahead, Kim.
I think, and this is probably for that future discussion, but I'm thinking about the listening sessions that the commission is offering, and perhaps that's the additional opportunity just to be heard. As one who coordinated and helped with Sue in designing the engagements, I think that there wouldn't be no we had guidance that they should look the same, be the same, look the same, have the same guidelines, and to add a fifth that didn't look the same, be the same, and have it be in a physical location would be problematic, as I understand it. And so I would encourage, if we think about that and talk about that later, we maybe check in on additional guidance, but consider just listening. Like, that was a very intentional design for multitudes of ways to engage. And it was because we were in person at 4 sort of areas of the state strategically chosen. And I think that's my 2 cents on that one.
Okay. So let's focus all the rest of the comments on the complaint. Rebecca?
I was just gonna, again, I think I'm hearing unanimity that we need a quick response to the complaint and that we have the path forward from the complaint. I haven't heard any concerns around that. I would like to propose that we delegate to the chairs the responsibility for responding to the complaint consistent with the recommendations of the attorney. But that also I would like us to recommend, I agree with Scott, and I think we should ask the chairs to maybe do some polling of people about possible meeting times for another forum after the 10th. And I say that because many of us organized our work schedules and travel schedules precisely around the meetings that were on the agenda. And we're going to have trouble scheduling that if we don't schedule very fast. So I don't think we can wait till the November 10th meeting to identify possible meeting times. So those are the 2 actions I would recommend that the chairs take on before the 10th.
So Rebecca, is that a formal motion to?
Yes. A double motion, though. A double motion, one
But-
to delegate. Yes. Our
Make,
formal
make
motion.
your formal motion for me, please.
I move that the chairs respond to the complaint consistent with the recommendations of the advice of the attorneys. And I also recommend that the chairs pull or somehow find out from the members of the task force when they might be available for an additional public hearing that can be, warned with enough advance notice for people to come sometime after the 10th.
Is there a second to the motion? And
Seconded.
All right, so Rebecca made the motion that we reply to the open meeting law violation consistently with the attorney's recommendation, which is to deny the allegations because as
An
we
advisory body there's been no violation of open meeting law as it applies to an advisory body. We have a little more detail, I think, in how we can, and you can respond with more detail, the chairs could, to respond with more detail to the specific allegations. But
thank you. Is there any more discussion on that?
I think
All
if
in
we're
fa-
committed.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say we didn't raise the form question or materials question in our discussion. I don't know if we wanted to speak to it, but
Okay,
we
so
either
just
can
to,
or you could respond.
yep, to recap, we discussed the accessibility. And I'm just going to read through really quickly. Task force is an advisory body. Open meeting law does not require that it holds hybrid meetings at all. An electronic platform is only required for an advisory body when there's no physical location available. The link was changed as a result of a family emergency from administrative support staff. The correct link was available on the task force's website at the time of the meeting, and the preferred practice is to have the correct link included, posted 48 hours, and we had done that for every meeting after that going forward. That was not. And then the timing of the meeting on the 10th, there's no open meeting law to require any particular meeting times. We scheduled 4 meetings so that there would be ample opportunity for participation, and participating in all 4 meetings is not required. The plan for 4 meetings was so that people would have multiple choices to be able to attend at least one. All the meetings were identical to each other. No decisions are being made in the hearing, so missing any one of the 4 doesn't prevent someone from meaningfully engaging in the process. The comment form, open meeting law requires the public be given a reasonable opportunity to express its opinion on matters considered by the public body during the meeting. So having a form that has certain options is perfectly acceptable. It's a reasonable way to participate. We did, however, allow for an open response option after that. And in addition, in those meetings and in the public hearing, of listening to folks, open options, right? So we had 3 stations. Station 1 and Station 3 were open options. Station 2 had a list so that we could actually compare clearly. We modified that to have an open option also, and then folks could speak however they wanted to. And then materials, open meeting law requires posted meeting agendas contain sufficient detail concerning the specific matter, does not require that all the supporting material be provided with the agenda. So we are working incredibly hard to go above and beyond what open meeting law requires of us as an advisory body, and we apologize when we are not able to meet our desired availability and transparency. Did I cover all of it? Yes. Somebody else? Are we ready to vote on the motion? And I just mostly recapped that because some folks joined after we covered some of it. So some of that was fast because it had already been discussed. Yes, Wendy.
Can we please have two separate motions just because folks might want to vote differently on them? I don't think they will, but I just think procedurally it's better.
Great. So Rebecca,
It's
were
my
you willing
motion.
to?
I will make a motion that we ask the chairs to respond on behalf of the task force consistent with the advice of the attorney. That's the first motion.
Beth, you're seconding that. Thank you. Any discussion on that motion?
There was a question regarding materials, and I think on that point, there's no requirement that our materials, the agenda must be warned, materials are made available as they become available. And the report that's required to include the maps isn't due until December 1st. Because there was a question regarding that, I think, in the complaint as well. That's how I understood that response.
Thank you. Jen?
I don't mean to be picky, but I think that Rebecca made a motion earlier and that Kim seconded it, and now we just made another motion. So is the first motion like I
Withdrawn. I withdraw my second.
Yes, sorry. I am
So I think we
withdrawing
need
my
to do
first-
that.
Yes, yes. I am withdrawing my first motion and
I'm withdrawing my first second.
Okay, and so we are going to make a motion to just deal with the first part of the motion. I'm going to make a second motion later, but the first part of the motion is that we ask the chairs on behalf of the committee or the task force to respond to the complaint that was made in a way that is consistent with the advice of our legal counsel. Thank you, Jen.
Okay. And Beth, are you still seconding that? Great. Okay, that is the motion that we are discussing. Are we ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you.
Can I make a second motion?
You can.
I would like to make a motion that the
So,
task force.
Actually, it's not there's nothing else on our agenda, so this would be other business. So it's not great practice to decide something that hasn't been posted on an agenda. Like, that's not great practice. So I think to have a conversation, but I don't know that making a motion is great.
Okay, then I won't make a motion. I would respectfully suggest that the chairs survey the task force before the next meeting so that we can make a motion and commit to a time after November 10th to hold another public hearing. And it's just a request.
I think I'll reiterate my request that it be a listening only session and that it be fully virtual.
And if I could just piggyback on Rebecca's comment, not only date, time, but also location.
I think Scott, what I was suggesting is another location in a different form might compromise our guidance to have these public engagement sessions look like one another and is substantially similar. I think doing so after November 10th, where I can't envision how that is going to be equitable access. So my suggestion was that it be fully virtual.
Yeah, go ahead, Rebecca. I have a response too, but go ahead, Rebecca.
I just want to say, I'm going to leave this meeting because this is the second meeting we've had to heal this issue. I welcome a broader discussion about how we do those forums. I actually don't have time to do it now, so I'm leaving because I left another meeting to come to this second meeting. I'm going back to that other meeting, and I just don't want you to misinterpret my leaving. I just don't have time right now to do this. I'm sorry.
Fully appreciate that. I am in a similar situation, so thank you.
Bye-bye.
I have to echo what Kim said, and that I would personally recommend that we hold a longer meeting on the 10th, and we post that in advance, that there will be extra time for public comment at the end of that meeting after we discuss the maps. I think that's going to be the most equitable way, as long as we post it in advance to get feedback. To run another public hearing the way that we have in another location around the state I think is going to be incredibly strenuous and stressful on a very time compressed situation. So,
Okay. I
um,
mean, people would be allowed to, I assume will be in Waterbury there on the, I mean, they could just show up at the end in person if they wanted to.
yeah, in person,
Okay.
remote,
Okay,
we'll have
that's
all
fine.
of that available.
that's
It's
fine.
already a date that's been posted.
Okay.
So if we all just, if we put that out there and plan to spend some extra time that night in case, and I would imagine there will be more public comment because we should have more fleshed out maps then as well.
Okay.
Okay, so we covered what was on the agenda. It's,
Motion to adjourn?
yes. Jen, do you have something other than a motion to adjourn? Oh, you're muted.
I was going to make a motion to adjourn, but if Kim made that motion, I'm happy to second it.
Great. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your commitment to this. See you on the
Thank
10th.
you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, bye.